Hello, everyone. This is Uncivil Law, and he's a great example of a YouTuber who gets it right when it comes to the attacks on men. He talks about the open letter supporting Amber Heard, and he actually calls them feminist. He doesn't call them woke like everybody else does, and he calls out misandry, and he says the phrase female privilege. He's head and shoulders above everyone else. Now, before I get into this, I want to go to Mr. Pink and Yellow's uh, response video because he does a better job, never will, and he gives a constructive critique directly to uncivil law to improve things. It's a critique, but it's constructive, right? Let's hear a little bit.
Wrote this letter. So this has been debunked once and for all the not all feminists are like that meme, because it is always a bullshit meme. All feminists are like that. Okay, every single one of them. If you wear the label feminist, you are like that. Even if you are not hateful, even if you don't do one hateful thing in your life, but you wear the feminist label, you are actually hateful because you're validating the feminist label. So
Now, that's his. I invite you to go watch his, but first, or finally, we'll get to uncivil law, and I got some timestamps, and you'll see he does do this properly. Okay.
Today's story, we are dealing with more Amber Heard stupid. And the stupid is particularly hurtful today because a whole group of feminists have come out in support of Amber Heard and not in support of male victims, which is...
There you go. Bunch of feminists have come out in support of Amber Heard. Right. Not woke, not weirdos, not any of the other dodge terms all these other cowards use. Okay. And here he points out that the word misogyny is meaningless.
I don't understand. Much of this harassment was fueled by disinformation. Everyone's favorite word, misogyny, because it doesn't mean anything. Not anymore. Misogyny might have meant something once long, long ago. But whatever it might have meant once, long, long ago, it no longer means anything. It's just an arbitrary label that's applied whenever we want to shut someone down.
See that? See how he gets it right, how he's framing it right, everyone. It doesn't mean anything, and it's used to shut the conversation down. That's why you have to ignore that word.
Where's the ink spilled over the misandry? Doesn't exist. What's misogyny? Anything that apparently is negative towards women, apparently. It's a meaningless word.
Thank you, Uncivil Law. I appreciate that. And here, this is important, he will use the term female privilege. He'll actually call it out.
That's really the only way this letter makes sense, is that only women can be survivors. Men literally cannot be survivors of domestic violence. That's the only way this letter makes sense. This letter only makes sense if misogyny means anything negative said about a woman, and it's impossible for a man to be a victim. That's the only way this makes sense, and that's infuriating.
Thank you. Thank you, Uncivil Law. Do you see? All you guys notice he's not like these Cope channels where they're laughing and joking and using gallows humor and saying, these feminists, these woke people, they'll get theirs, or they failed again, or Amber Heard got wrecked. You ever notice that? There's none of this. They failed. He's upset, and he says it infuriates him. And this is how men should be honestly tackling this issue. You can't tackle this issue without honesty. You can't hide and pretend everything's all right. This pisses us off.
That's infuriating. Women are always to be believed, never mocked, never questioned. Literally believe all women, disbelieve all men. This letter is baked in female privilege.
This letter is baked in female privilege. Thank you again, Uncivil Law. And everybody listening, are you taking notes? Take notes. You recognize that they're feminist. You recognize that you're angry about this. And you also recognize that it stems from women. And women do have privilege over men. Men don't have privilege. There's no such thing as male privilege. None. Zero. Get that out of your head. Okay?
Twitter essentially left the women to fend for themselves with little to no support from the platforms. The abuse and targeted harassment continued well after Depp v. Heard trial ended. Unless Twitter takes action, the abuse will continue. Why is it abuse? What makes it abuse? What you use these words. You use these words like abuse, misogyny, but they don't mean anything when you say them.
Okay. Again, thank you, Uncivil Law, and everyone take notes.
Or they're so broad to mean everything, which is kind of the same thing. If it means everything, it means nothing. To highlight everything is to highlight nothing. You've turned the word abuse into a meaningless word. It has no meaning.
Of course, because its purpose is to attack men. So it is whatever they need it to be. Now, like I said, look at my timestamps. One last one here. I think over here. Yep. 46:45. Let's get over here.
Men are second class. That's the only way for this to make sense. And it pisses me off.
He admits we're second class. Thank you.
And this is why, for example, I'll never use a term like feminist for myself. Because this apparently is what feminism is. It's not equality. It's special treatment. And, it's just crap. So, yeah.
Yeah, he calls out feminism, right? And he shows the proper expression. See this defeated look? Believe it or not, that is heads and shoulders above all the fake laughter. You don't want to be defeated? Then you do something about it. The fake laughter is hiding your head in the sand.
And then, of course, we still have to get into definitional problem.
So this is all you need to see here. From my video anyway, I invite you to watch all of this video of Uncivil Law. But I also ask you again, I recommend that you go and see Mr. Pink and Yellow's response video to Uncivil Law, because he gives a constructive critique. Any criticism he gives to Uncivil Law is constructive. He wants them to do better. So any failings that Uncivil Law has, he'll point them out. So please go and watch this. It's a very underrated channel, only 85 subs, but he does dynamite stuff, okay? So I'll put them both in the description box. Oh yeah, one last thing before I end it. See, this is Uncivil Law. His thumbnail is proper. The thumbnail has an evil-looking, beautiful woman on it. It's not all like these copers that show the dyed-haired, overweight, ugly woman. No, this is accurate to what they are. Feminists are usually beautiful women steeped in female privilege that are evil. She's good looking, but she's evil. Perfect. So this guy is just so much better than the losers that are out there. Thank you one last time, Uncivil Law. Appreciate it. Goodbye.